Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. We are about to head into Week 11 for the NFL season. It's getting close in some divisions. We'll have some fateful games this week. Smokey, how you doing?
I am good. I am better than Jets fans. And I'm sorry, I didn't even want to pick the Jets. I wanted to pick the Giants. I just wrote down New York right here. The Giants are even worse than the Jets at this point in time. And I feel really bad for Daniel Jones because they're saying that he has probably seen his last snap as a New York Giant. It's probably never going to work out for him. Maybe he'll get a good backup job and he can live up to his potential one day somewhere else. But it's not going to be with the Giants, apparently. And that team is spiraling out of control. They're just snake bit, Jesus. I feel bad for their fans, to tell you the truth, but I am better than the Giants fans, I'll tell you that. How are you, Alex?
I'm better than Chicago Bears fans. They got completely wrecked, and it turns out they're not that good. A lot of people thought that they'd be really good. They won a bunch of games at the start of the season, and it kind of all fell apart. And it all kind of hinges around Caleb Williams as well. And apparently there's reports coming out about locker room dissatisfaction and teammates calling for him to be benched internally, which is crazy stuff. You never hear about that. But to me, in my opinion, that has a lot to do with the off field personality issues that I didn't prognosticate because we all knew about them existing during the draft process and after the draft process. That this is not the kind of player who is going to win over a locker room. He's going to type of player that the whole locker room wants to get rid of as soon as possible, and it seems like it's turned out that way. His offensive line is not performing at all. They almost don't care. People are calling for him to be benched, and of course the coaching situation isn't looking exactly great in Chicago either. So I'm better than Bears fans because they thought they had something, and we knew better. At least some people did the whole time.
Absolutely.
Before we talk about Week 11 here, let's get into the MVP rankings. We do this every week. We talk about our MVP frontrunners, and there's a poll out on the channel community page. This time I already posted it before we were doing this podcast. Usually I do it after we record the podcast, and about the same time the podcast goes up, then we have the first results. But we already have the first results for this week's MVP voting, and this week we are very heavily tilted in the favor of Lamar.
Oh, yeah.
Lamar Jackson sitting around 70% of the votes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Really, he's got to be the front runner at this point in time. I mean, he's still performing excellent each week. And Jared Goff, even though he's still winning, kind of took his name out of the running. I wouldn't say out of the running. He still has a good chance at winning it. But he would have to pull off something, and Lamar would have to start playing bad, along with Josh Allen. Do you want to hear my list right now? All right, Lamar at number 1. I mean, it's kind of hard to argue with that. Josh Allen at number 2. And the points of contention would be the next 3 because wins matter. Joe Burrow, I have at number 3. Justin Herbert, I have at number 4. And I have Jared Goff coming in at number 5. Like I said, he still has a chance. But the 2 before him, the Joe and Justin. There's a lot of J names here. Josh, Joe, Justin, and Jared. And Jackson. So they're all J's.
Yeah. And Jackson, there. Huh. I
guess so. But, Joe Burrow, people don't want to go with him. Or even Justin Herbert in a way. But because he's not winning the games. And I think that's a big part of actually winning the MVP. Absolutely playing lights out. Both of these guys are playing really great. Playing better than Jared Goff and Patrick Mahomes, who win every single game. But they are playing much better. So they have to be in there because if they win out somehow, say both of them go on a heater, they're going to be right up there with Josh Allen competing with Lamar. And you never know what could happen. But that's my list for this week.
Yeah, I actually fully agree with your list. I would just sign it off and leave it exactly at that. I think with Lamar, the tiebreaker between Lamar and Burrow is the team wins. It's clear because statistically speaking, they're virtually looking the same in many regards. Joe Burrow leads the league in passing yards. Of course, Lamar Jackson a bit more of a threat on the ground. They both have 24 touchdowns, is really good, and great passer ratings. So obviously, they played head-to-head last Thursday, and in the closest possible fashion, the Bengals lost on a 2-point conversion attempt where the Ravens committed multiple penalties that all went uncalled in a single play.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the story of the season for Joe Burrow, and it goes to show that as you kind of hinted at it, wins really are not a quarterback statistic. A lot of people like to bring it up, say wins matter. Wins matter for the voting, right? When like we're voting for the MVP, they do matter, but they also shouldn't matter, because if I ask you what can Joe Burrow do to like put himself as the MVP favorite these next 3 weeks? What can he do? What can he improve? There's really nothing you could. He's like, you should win the game. Well, but they're not losing because of him, so he can't do anything more to win. He can't play defense. He can't call plays, and he can't throw his own and call his own penalties. Right. So he's only a quarterback. That's all he can do. I don't know what else, but if you take him off the Bengals, I think that team has the steepest drop-off of all of these other teams, which you would think makes him, by definition, the most valuable player, right, to his team. But, of course, in voting, doesn't quite work that way. So I agree with you, Lamar. I got Josh Allen there, though he has to kind of, he's slowed down a little bit but the Bills keep winning, as you said. Burrow. And then look out for Justin Herbert. The Chargers are winning. They're 6-3. They're at a good record. They're going to have a chance to play Kansas City again. Justin Herbert's been nearly perfect with the ball in his hands. He's only thrown a single interception this entire season, which is amazing. I think no other quarterback that has started the whole year has done that so far. The Chargers go on a heater, and they do it with the passing game, and he gets to actually bolster those stats a little bit. I think Justin Herbert has a chance to get up there in the top 3. But for now, I'm fully with you on the list. And the people voting on the channel page seem to agree with that. But the poll is still out until Sunday night or kickoff the next week. You can go vote, and let's see what the result's going to be. Should we look at week 11 here? But before that, actually, what's our standings like? I have to ask our results from the prediction game last week.
Yeah, man, if the Rams would have just pulled it out at the end, I would have had all 3 of them on you this week. But it didn't happen, so I won 2 of them, you won 1. That gives me 1 point that I made up out of this week here.
I'll say this. Dolphins, thank you very much, Dolphins. I believed in it.
Yeah.
I had Denver. I had Denver.
Yeah.
They're winning all game. I said they're going to pull the upset against Kansas City. Is my upset pick. Big, money pick, bold prediction. They had them all game. They're down 2 points. They got an extra point distance field goal to go to end a regulation. What do they get the field goal block? Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't. That's like a 98% win probability before the last snap of the game. Yeah. And of course, to hurt my incredible bold prediction, they mess it up somehow.
The Chiefs must win. That is the motto of the NFL. The Chiefs must win.
By any means. Apparently. I don't know. But there's there's nothing, no ref ball involved in that play. The Broncos were winning. I don't know. It's some aura thing where you just you just make the kick and No.
Yeah, that was one we disagreed on, the Broncos and the Chiefs. I had the Chiefs, man. Dude, so many times this season, that exact scenario has happened to me in games that we picked differently. I'm winning the entire game, and I'm like, oh, this is easy. This is my point right here. And then it just swings at the last second, and I lose. But, hey, I won that.
I guess it happens. I guess it goes both ways. But, man, the fashion in which it happened and the fact that I picked a 6-1 upset.
Yeah.
I really wanted that. I would have been some... if I bet on it, I didn't bet on it, but if I did, it would have been some good money.
Another game that was very, very close that we disagreed on. Steelers and Commanders. I picked the Steelers, you picked the Commanders, and that game was a battle till the bitter end. And both of those teams are so good right now. And both for different reasons. The Commanders are doing it on offense, the Steelers are doing it on defense, but I got the win there. 2 for me on the disagreements, 1 for you. Like I said, the total, I guess it wasn't bad for a game with so many buys, or a week with so many buys, that is. I got 9 on the week, and you got 8 on the week. The total, 97 for me on the season, 103 for you. So I still have a lot of ground to make up.
Yeah, 6 games. Well, if you win 1 per week, it will be we'll have a famous tie at the end of the season again. It'll be pretty close to it, so I have to keep this lead. Let's go to week 11, and we're starting off with a pretty difficult... There's a lot of difficult games to pick this week. Last week I felt it was easy. Turns out it wasn't. This week feels like it's hard. Starting off with the Commies and the Eagles.
Yeah, Commanders and the Eagles. Another game that's going to be a drag out right here, man. This should be much like last week with the Steelers, for different reasons, though. Well, the Eagles do have a decent defense. You know, they have all those Georgia players out there, so it's not a horrible defense, but they win through their offense, and so does the Commanders. And this is a rivalry division game, and I expect this one to come down to the very last second. Much like most of the Commanders games, this should be so close. I don't know who to pick. I have absolutely no idea. I kind of want to go with the Commanders because I would rather personally see the Commanders win this game. But it is in Philadelphia. Makes it tough. But you know what? Overall, this entire season, the Commanders have been better than the Eagles, even though the Eagles are winning as of late. I'm taking the Commanders on the road.
Yeah, I'm with you on one thing. I also want the Commanders to win this game and the division over Philly, obviously. But one thing I have to disagree with you on is I'm going to pick the Eagles to get it. I think they're on a major upswing. They just steamrolled the Cowboys in the like best possible way they could have done. Commanders have been struggling a little bit, not playing badly, but they haven't been, they lost that game against the Steelers. They were kind of close. They played down to the competition against Chicago for most of the game, or for all of the game. I'm taking the Eagles because they have the momentum and they're playing at home. I have to give them the 2.5 points, and I'll have to go Philly here. Packers and Bears.
Yep, this one should be an easy one to pick right here. Packers are coming off of a bye. They should be well rested up. And like you mentioned earlier, the Bears are in dire straits. And Caleb is not playing very well at all. He doesn't look like the first overall pick, especially when there's a Jaden Daniels out there playing like he is. So this one should be easy, right? The Pack going to be on the road. It is a divisional game, so you always wonder in the end. But I'm going to pick the Fighting Jordan Loves and take the Packers on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. Packers at Chicago. Bears are a mess, completely falling apart. This is not the kind of thing you fix with just some new installs and some new, like a new game plan. There's a big cultural problem going on with the Bears. It's not going to reflect well on the field, especially in competitive games. Packers get it done. Jacksonville at Detroit.
Another easy one here. Like I said, the Bears, or the Lions, are not playing as well as they should be playing, but they win. It's a lot like the Chiefs. Like, the Lions have been good this year. Overall, the Lions have been better than the Chiefs this year. There's no doubt about it, regardless of record. But as of late, it's been much like the Chiefs, and the Lions are still getting the win, even though Jared Goff, what was he like? He only completed like 50% of his passes last week, which is a season low for him. So he's going to have to straighten that up if he wants to win the MVP. But it's the Jags. The Jags are down on their luck, man. It's very, very dismal for the Jags. I am taking the Lions at home, no question about it.
I mean, the Lions just show they can play the worst imaginable game and win it, right? You can turn the ball over 5 times and win the game against a good team with the Texans. Yeah, it looks pretty invincible. The Lions are by far the biggest favorite. They have a 14-point spread here. My bookie was what I'm looking at. 14-point spread for Detroit, which is almost double the second biggest spread. And I'm going to let you guess who the second biggest underdog is this week, because it's really funny, but I'm locking in Detroit. I'll give you a minute. I'll give you a second to think about it.
Oh, okay. I mean, nah, because the Vikings haven't been playing that well, so I would say the Titans. But the Vikings have been playing pretty bad recently. Is there another one I would rather go with? No, well, Texans over Cowboys, maybe. I think it's got to be one of those two games. Cowboys.
Second biggest underdog at home. The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Man. Wow. I'm talking about America's team, not even Texas team. That is crazy. Yeah, that's amazing. But yes, I'm taking the Lions. Should be the clearest game of the week. Raiders and the Dolphins.
Yeah, another team coming off of a bye here. Didn't they say Gardner Minshew was going to start this game? So that gives them a little bit of a an edge in their favor. Not really an edge, because they're not as good of a team as the Dolphins. There's no doubt about it. Even regardless, I mean, they just don't have the firepower at quarterback. I like Gardner Minshew, but he's just not the guy to get it done. The Dolphins, yes, it's been a really rough season, but the Dolphins are good. As long as Tua out there, the Dolphins are a really good team. And if Tyreek Hill is out there, Tua is out there, Devon Achane is out there, Jalen Waddle is out there, they should easily win this game. I'll be taking the Dolphins at home.
Absolutely. Dolphins did me a real solid here, beating the Rams Monday night. They got it done. Tua's back. Suddenly the offense is working out again. Tyreek Hill finally scored his touchdown. Congratulations, Offensive Player of the Year, potential MVP candidate. Dolphins are looking good. Raiders are not so much, so Miami gets this one. The Rams and Patriots.
Oh, this is like an almost tank bowl right here. It's an almost tank bowl. Like, sure, I'm sure both of these teams still feel like they have a shot. You know?
It's the average
yeah,
bowl.
It really is. Maybe the slightly under average at this point, but both of these teams are capable of winning games. I mean, we just saw basically New England blew out the Bears. And you wouldn't expect that at the beginning of the season by far. But, hey, they're getting it done. They're getting it done on defense. And Drake May is not bad at all. So, makes this one much tougher, because I would have just easily went with the Rams, especially with Stafford out there and, Puka and Kupp out there. As long as those guys are out there, they have plenty of firepower on offense to beat the Pats. But that defense looks really good, and it's at home. I'm going to stick with the Rams. Man, this game could go either way, but I'll stick with the Rams on the road.
Yeah, this one's difficult for me. I honestly, momentum is kind of not with the Rams after, they're coming in on a short week. They lost, and the Patriots won probably their easiest game of the season. Now they're playing at home. Drake May is growing into his role more and more every week. He's looking like potentially the second best quarterback drafted this class. Yeah, this one's really, really hard. I'm going Patriots. I mean, I don't like either of these teams. I'll be honest. I don't like either team. This is always like kind of a meteorite game for me. When they were like in the Super Bowl, it was the ultimate meteorite game for me. But in that game too, I just had to close my eyes and root for the what to me personally is the lesser of two evils, which is New England. I'll have to do it again this week, and I'm going to pick them too because the momentum is with them. I like Drake May at least. I will take the Patriots. Browns and the Saints. Now here's your tank bowl.
Oh, yeah. Well, the previous game, we both picked the lesser of two evils. They just happen to be opposite.
Yeah, because you're not in the NFC West. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. But speaking of lesser of two evils here, who do I want to go with? Man, the two-game bump is a real thing. Regardless of how bad the Jets are, that they couldn't get it done, it works. I mean, the Falcons are a much better team than the Saints. No one can deny that. But they get a win just by the fate that is placed upon them by the football gods. That's just how it works, man. You can't really go against it at this point. It's not going to work out every single time, but it's going to work out more times than it doesn't. The Browns are coming off of a bye. Yeah, they have a better chance of winning, although with Jameis out there last time, it was absolutely ugly. They're coming off of one of their worst games in many years, and that was without Deshaun Watson. There's going to be interceptions thrown in this game. This might be one of those, much like the Patriots last week against the Bears. It's going to be those really low-scoring games, and people are going to be bored watching it. But I'm going to stick with the two-game bump, and I'll take the Saints at home.
The thing is, I don't know if I can attribute it to the two-game bump because we saw it not work earlier this season with the Jets, and also because divisional games have different rules, it seems. So I don't know what you want to attribute it to. The Falcons are a much better team. Well, the Niners are a much better team than the Rams, and they win 9 out of 10 times, but early this year they didn't. Rams beat the Niners for some reason. Weird things happen when rivals play. I am not inclined to give the Saints a whole lot of credit here. I'll take the Browns. Give me Cleveland at New Orleans. I don't know why I'm making all of these kind of bold-ish picks. Maybe I really want to lose my lead in the prediction game, but I'll take the Browns to right the ship, get it done. Ravens and Steelers.
Yeah, this is the very opposite of a tank bowl. This is top of the league bowl right here, man. The Ravens are on fire, no doubt about it. So are the Steelers. Both of them have the momentum. Both of their quarterbacks are settled in right now. Russell Wilson is looking like old Russell Wilson. He has the weapons out there to do that, and he has the defense to back him up. Ravens also have a great defense. I don't know who I want to pick here. I guess I kind of have to go with the Ravens. It's one of those things where I need to stick with the Ravens until they lose, but I could absolutely see them losing this. The Steelers are just that good, and it's in Pittsburgh. Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to stick with the Ravens, but this is another game where I could see it go either way. I'll take the Ravens on the road.
Certainly go either way. This could be also, it has the potential to be a shootout, and it also has the potential to be a really low-scoring game. It could be anything, because Steelers' strength is clearly on the defensive side, of the Ravens' the strength is clearly on the defensive side, specifically on the run game. I think I'll take the Ravens because I just like the matchup a little bit better. I think the Steelers' defense is set up very well to defend the pass. They defend the run well, but I think this 1-2 combination and this offensive line for Baltimore is a little bit more than they've had to deal with yet, because this is hard to believe, but we're in Week 11. The Steelers have not yet played a divisional game. This is their first game in their own division in Week 11. Which is basically never happens. But I don't believe the Steelers. I don't think they can stop the run game for the entirety of this whole matchup. So I will also give it to Baltimore. If the Steelers win, though, a lot of things change, and the division is turned upside down, and see what the Bengals can do if they can come back from the pit. But for now, I'm going to Baltimore. Vikings and Titans.
The Vikings should have this one handled, right? The Titans are one of the bottom offenses and defenses in the entire league. They're just down and out. The Vikings are not as dominant on offense as they were at the beginning of the season. Sam Darnold is your resurgence year, or basically a breakout season for you. You got to put up more than 12 points on a horrible Jackson defense. You got to do better than that if you're going to compete in the end. Yeah, you can still win a lot of games, especially when you're facing one of the easiest schedules in the entire league. And here you are against the Titans. This one should be your game, so they're going to have to come out there and show some explosiveness on offense. But right now, I'll stick with the Vikings.
Yeah, agree. Vikings are better top to bottom. Titans are one of the bottom 5 teams, so Minnesota gets it done. Colts and Jets.
Tank Bowl. This is a super tank bowl right here. Man, every time I say that, okay, I've given up on the Jets, they do come back and win a game here and there. But also the Colts, they're going to be putting Anthony Richardson back out there. I think the Colts are doomed no matter what quarterback they put out there. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers doesn't give up, so that kind of leans me in the favor of the Jets. Yeah, they're bad. And it makes no sense because they have all the weapons. They have all these superstars on defense and offense. They should be dominating this league, but they just can't pull it together. The team is snake bit. It's the Jets. This is just how it goes for them. But, like I said, the Colts are bad, and if Anthony Richardson's out there, he's going to make a ton of mistakes. It's going to go horribly, especially against the Jets defense. I'll take the Jets at home.
I guess it's going to be, they're going back to Anthony Richardson, aren't they? I was
Well, at least with the blurb I saw.
Yeah, yes. I was hoping that they wouldn't, because I had this whole thing set up about how we have the veteran quarterbacks like travel back 12 years in the past and tell somebody that we're gonna see in like 12 years from now we'll see Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco in a tank bowl against each other. both of them probably at this point on the team against their will, but they have to finish the season somehow. I mean, I don't really care if it's Richardson or Flacco. I guess I'll take the Jets. The Jets are really their expertise is underachieving this year. And they always have a new creative way of just showing a weakness that we didn't think was there. Like at the start of the season, it was the receiving core is really bad, and the running game doesn't work. Now, defensively, I mean, since Robert Saleh left, the Jets have been the worst defense in the league. Turns out he wasn't even the problem as the defensive-minded head coach. They find a dozen ways to mess up, and maybe it's special teams this week, but the Colts are not the kind of team to take advantage of anything. Especially with Richardson back, I think it'll be more chaotic than anything else. I'll take the Jets, but not much hope here. Falcons and Broncos.
Before I get to that, just to confirm, yes, Shane Steichen has announced that Anthony Richardson will be moving forward for the rest of the season. Now, this does come right after a couple weeks ago he announced that it was going to be Joe Flacco for the rest of the season. So. Make of that what you will.
It's time for Anthony Richardson to somehow underperform what Flacco did so he can switch back again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Steichen might not be long for that job. Oh, man, looks bad. Oh, man, who do I want to pick here? The Falcons or the Broncos? Like, I'm really disappointed with that performance last week, but they had factors working against them. They were in New Orleans. It was the 2-game bump. And it was a divisional game. The Falcons are much better than what we saw last week, but they just couldn't put that final drive together. I don't know. Kirk Cousins looked overwhelmed, and it's chaos for Kirk sometimes, but he's a good game-managing quarterback. It's just, I don't know, man. He's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I think that's the problem for the Falcons here. I would love to see it, but I just can't really buy into it at this point in time. And the Broncos should have beaten the Chiefs. The Broncos look really good. They are way better than their record, man. And this is in Denver. I think I'm going to try the reverse curse thing again. And I am going to pick the Broncos to win this one at home and just hope the Falcons can pull it out somehow.
This one's a difficult one. This one could easily be a trap game I wouldn't even call it a trap game. The Broncos are not bad. Yeah, this one's hard for me to pick. After what I've seen last week, I mean, if the kick doesn't get blocked, the Broncos are 5-point favorites, I'm assuming, if they come and beat Kansas City. And there's nothing they've done to be like any worse than what they would be if they won the game. They just got a kick blocked. Falcons played bad, but they've rebounded. They're in Denver. This one's tough. This one's really, really tough. You know what? I will extend an olive branch to you. I will take the Falcons out of solidarity alone, because I can't make up my mind anyway. I don't know, flip a coin. Out of solidarity, I'll give you this one. I will take the Falcons. I expect you to return the favor. Hint, hint. Possibly pretty soon. Seahawks and Niners.
Oh wow, that was very
soon.
Well, here's how this game's going to play out. The Seahawks are coming off of a bye. They should get that run game going, but Geno Smith is not, he's not even the Kirk Cousins type, in my opinion. Like, he is a decent game-managing quarterback, but he doesn't quite have the firepower to take over games, especially against a 49ers defense that has, for the past few years, been one of the best. I mean, maybe a little down season this year, sure, but there's still a 49ers defense. I mean, you can't deny that. Like, some point, they're just going to take over games. But you also have Christian McCaffrey back. You have Debo out there. You have George Kittle. And now we have the rookie who got shot in the offseason. Now he's out there running around and looking great. So the firepower is in full force. It's going to be at home. I'm taking the 49ers.
So the Niners have been historically bad at special teams, not just this season, but the last few years. They come off a game where they just about beat the Bucs after missing 3 field goals, muffing a punt, allowing big returns. The 49ers have a special teams coordinator called Brian Schneider, who's been with them for 3 years. And he spent a decade with the Seattle Seahawks. Before a quick stint in Jacksonville, I believe, and then he came to San Francisco. So if it turns out that he's been a double agent this whole time, this is the game we'll see it. This is the game we'll see. Seattle have like 2 kick return touchdowns, like block a punt, and they'll miss all their field goals. So if it turns out that that's the long ploy that's been going this whole time, this is probably where they pull it out because the division is so tight. I think the Niners need to look at replacing the special teams coach. I don't even understand how he's been he's been around for this long. I guess just like the team is kind of been successful. They've been winning. I've been doing well, so you just kind of don't notice that something's wrong, and like people who are not performing up to the standard to their role are kind of being covered, by the fact that the team overall is doing good and winning. But after this season, I mean, you've replaced the defensive coordinator a couple times now. After the season, I think you have to start addressing special teams more than anything else. I think that's by far the most glaring need the Niners need to. It keeps costing them games, and it almost did again last week. Needs to be addressed. Still, Christian McCaffrey's back. Team's getting healthier. Juwan Jennings was obviously back, made a massive play to set up the game-winning field goal last week. I'll take the Niners. Better team, better roster, better quarterback, better, more experienced head coach. They're capable of messing things up. We know that, but so is Seattle this year. They're not like any more of a choke artist than the Seahawks, and maybe even less. I'll take the Niners at home. Game of the week, and sucks that it's at the same time as the Niners. Chiefs at the Bills.
Wow, this is a really tough pick. Now, if you just look at stats on paper for the season, not wins and losses, just stats on paper, the Bills are way better than the Chiefs. No doubt about it. And this is in Buffalo. But the Chiefs just can't lose for some reason. They can try to give games away and they still end up winning somehow. It just happens. It makes no sense. The Bills really need this. Didn't they get their in-season win against the Chiefs last season?
I think they lost it. Was it 2 years ago? What about 2 years ago they beat them? Yeah.
I know they had finally gotten their win over them, but then they lost it again in the playoffs. So. But good for them. This is the regular season. It's almost one where if you're a Bills fan, you're like, we should lose this one so that we can win in the playoffs. Because you're not going to beat them twice in a season. It just doesn't happen because it's the Chiefs. But, hey, I think that's how it plays out this time, much like that game a year or two ago. I'm going to take the Bills at home and say the Chiefs finally get their one loss because they're not going completely undefeated this entire season. They've been too close to losing all season. Somebody has to do it, and the Bills is the team that can do it. I'll take the Bills at home.
Yeah. Like I would normally do that too, and everything you said is true. The Bills are the better team. All right. And also they are, even though they've lost games, they are the safer team when you look at playoff standings. I mean, the AFC East is really not a whole lot of competition. You have the Broncos, who are not bad by any means. You have the Chargers, who sneakily are at 6-3 now in the AFC West. I think the Bills are probably sitting there better than the Chiefs when it comes to playoff security. Both teams are obviously going to make the playoffs and almost certainly win their divisions. But if the next 2 to 3 weeks fall like in an inconvenient way, it's easier for the Chiefs to be feeling some heat than for the Bills. I think I'm letting my paranoia get the best of me in this one because I can't get myself to not pick Kansas City after all I've seen. There's something's wrong. Something's up. Like this whole like ref ball thing, and I know it's always been like I was like walking this fine line between joking and not joking, because it's obviously true that someone like Patrick Mahomes will get more calls than on like another quarterback or like some random quarterback. That's a fact, and it's statistically true. Mm-hmm. We see that. But of course, we also like to talk about. We know the NFL is being scripted. The three-peat has been set up the whole time, for years now. For Kansas City, which I don't, this is too much to set up from the start, and how many people would have to be involved in this grand conspiracy theory. But this year, take away the Broncos game, the amount of ref favorability that the Chiefs have gotten is actually turning concerning. It's no longer the matter of just it's like a famous top guy quarterback, we're going to protect him a little bit more. The amount of penalties, the amount of no calls, it is getting concerning, and it is very isolated to this particular team more than anyone else at like an unprecedented rate. So I don't know. It's very uneasy for me picking Chiefs games at this point because I can sit here all day long and say how statistically speaking, yeah, the other team's better. But also, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, honestly. And truthfully, like, if you believe that something's going on, you have every reason to do that because, well, things are pointing that way. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I don't know. Like, I'll let my paranoia make that pick. I'm taking Kansas City. Bengals and the
Ratings.
Chargers.
It's all about the ratings, man.
Yeah.
Chiefs bring large numbers, and
But
Taylor
do
Swift
they
does not
though?
hurt that
Because
at
their
all.
games are not exciting. They win by defense. Like they're not that exciting to watch at all.
They're not, but I mean, there were plenty of years when the Patriots were down and out, even though they win almost every game.
It's the same way.
I mean,
Yeah.
Patriots had plenty seasons like this.
Yeah.
Yet
true.
they still win the Super Bowl somehow. Yeah, I mean, but people love dynasties. You know, there's fans from all around the world who jump on this train just because they win so much, and that equals tons of ratings for the NFL.
I guess.
And like I said, Taylor Swift doesn't hurt. You know, these guys are superstars. Mahomes and Kelsey, like these guys have become household names because of this dynasty. So. The NFL wants the Chiefs to win. I don't have any doubt about it.
That's the thing. That's true. The underlying fundamental statement, the NFL has an interest in the Chiefs continuing to win. That is true. That is correct. It's not false. It's only a question of, what are they doing about it, if anything.
Yeah, that's the question. Well, the Bengals and the Chargers, man, this will be a really good game also. Good thing this is on Sunday night, man, because this should be a shootout, and we're going to get to see the two rivals go at it. Much like the game before where the two quarterback rivals are going at it, we got another set of quarterback rivals going at it, and this is going to be fun to watch. The Bengals have better weapons overall. The Chargers still have some underdeveloped wide receivers that are coming along just fine, but two superstar quarterbacks are going to go at it drive for drive. Man, you got to love football, man. Even if the NFL is completely rigged, you still got to love it. I mean, the storylines are wonderful.
Yeah, like
aren't
the
they?
WWE, right? Same exact potential.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, that's the best way to make really intriguing storylines is to just fix the games, right?
True.
Yeah, that's how you set up the best games. But man, I got to say the Bengals are just a little better here. Even though the Chargers are going to be at home, they still don't have a huge fan base out there in LA. So there might be a good bit of Bengals fans actually in the stadium here for this. But overall, the Chargers still should have the favoritism of the fans here. I'm going to pick the Bengals, though. I'm going to say that offense is just working way too well for the Chargers right now. And the Chargers defense is down a tick this season. I think this will be a really good game. I think this will be a shootout. I think there's going to be tons of fantasy points scored in this game, but I will stick with the Bengals on the road.
Over-under is 47.5, and I am picking the over. That is for sure. I might pick the over on a single team scoring 47 points in this one. The Bengals are not good defensively. They really suck. They're terrible. They can score points, specifically Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase combination can score a ton of points. But the Chargers can do the same offensively. I mean, they are good. Chargers are legitimately good. They got the better record. They're playing at home. Everything points towards saying, hey, the Chargers should win this game. And yet they're not really favored. Or they're slightly favored. They got 2-point favored. Just for home field, it's basically a toss-up. Goes to show just how much faith people still have in the Bengals, or rather in Joe Burrow, probably, and him alone, with Jamar Chase turning the season around. It feels like a must-win game, though. If you're Cincinnati, I don't think you can afford to lose this one. You'll be kind of too far behind, especially since the Chargers do become your indirect rival in the wild card race when it comes December for the playoffs. So Cincinnati must win it. I'll take the Bengals, damn it. There's a lot of hard games, a lot of hard debates I've had to have with myself, but I'll take the Bengals, I'll take Joe Burrow. But there's no particular reason or nothing about the Chargers per se where I would say this is why I'm picking the Bengals. Because Justin Herbert's just as good. And they got Jim Harbaugh. He's just as good a coach. I don't know. It just feels like the Bengals are going to have more urgency with the game. They have to make, this is the game of the year. You have to win it. There's no way past winning this game. I think that'll probably carry them to an exciting victory. But this will be a great game. I hope I can stay up long enough to watch that. And Monday night, the second biggest underdog of the week, as playing at home and hosting the Houston Texans in the battle for the state of Texas, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of these teams should be favored. There's no doubt about it. I mean, if Cooper Rush starts this game, I know we've seen Cooper Rush be serviceable in the past. He's actually won some games with Dak out, but this year, he is trash, man. Not saying anything bad about him personally. His on-field performance is absolute garbage. I want Trey Lance to play this game. I want him to start this game. I want him to play this entire game. Carson Wentz, number 2. Trey Lance. I want him to come out there and actually show that he could live up to the potential that he had when he was drafted by the 49ers coming into this league. Never had the chance to play it. Injury took him out. Never had the chance to live up to that potential. I think he still has it in him somewhere. Maybe he can pull it out here. I want to see that happen. And if that does happen, and he actually shows up for this game, this could be a much closer game. Other than that, if Cooper Rush starts this game, it's going to be a huge blowout. You might as well take those points because the Texans should win handily here. I'm going to stick with the Texans for now because they just are the better team overall. There's no doubt about it. But I want to see Trey Lance play this entire game and actually show out and show that he can be the guy that he was drafted to be. Taking the Texans on the road.
Give me Houston. Dallas is not looking good. I wonder, okay, I think we're pretty sure that Mike McCarthy's done after this season, right? That there's some, they're going to overhaul something with the Cowboys. Is he going to stick around for the rest of the year? Or is this an in-season firing? Something that Jerry Jones doesn't usually do. And he's stuck with McCarthy through a lot. I mean, for the last 3 years, we've been speculating that they might get a new coach. They might get a new quarterback. Nope, they keep extending them. They keep sticking with them. Can't defend McCarthy anymore after this year, I don't think. Dak, you kind of want to get rid of him too, but he's just costing you too much money. He's signed a huge deal before week 1 and proceeds to play maybe his worst season of his career right away. I don't know. I'm curious to see when. It's more of a question of when than if the revolution happens for Dallas or the reformation happens for Dallas. Yeah, give me Houston. Houston gets it done, and Cowboys are going down to what's going to be? Is it going to be 3-6, 4-7? Yeah, something not good at all. Something really bad. It'll be interesting to see.
Can't have more than
3-7. They're currently 3-6. They go to 3-7. Wow. Dallas Cowboys 3-7. Sounds good. Sounds good to me.
That's got to be the worst season they've had since Dak's second or third year there.
Since I can remember. I mean, I remember there was that one year where the entire division had a losing record or something, or no one had a winning record.
Yes.
Washington ended up winning the division. Exactly. Everyone was bad. But this isn't just like 500 territory bad. This is not Jason Garrett level anymore. This is legitimately losing team, top 10 NFL draft pick. The Cowboys might end up 5-13 or 6-12, or wow. 5-12. Yeah.
Jerry Jones would have a fit.
I'm sure he already is doing that every week. I'm just wondering how long, is he going to kind of psych himself up to pull the trigger during the week or during the season and get rid of a coach and replace? I don't know if he will. I don't think he will. It's not much of a point to it. I think he'll take the offseason to interview and to rebuild then. But yeah, I mean, love to see it. I don't like the Cowboys at all. Good to see them. It's always funny. Have the Cardinals on bye, as well as the Panthers, the Giants, and the Bucks. Nothing too exciting.
Kind of hate that we that we didn't get to talk about the Cardinals, though, because I want to know, are the Cardinals legit? They have got some blowout wins in their favor recently. Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Are they okay?
You don't believe in the Cardinals,
Not
I
much,
know,
no.
but look at their recent record.
Is there a greater than 0% chance that the Cardinals can make the playoffs this year? Yes, there is. I will have to admit that and concede that. I said before the season they're like basically no shot. I didn't believe it at all. Now I believe it very little. I don't think they're legit in terms of like, are they gonna like cruise to winning the division in a dominant way and beat the Niners in San Francisco and then go to the playoffs and win a playoff game? I don't think that type of legit. But are they more legit than I gave them credit for at the start of the season? I mean, yeah, the record shows that they are. It clearly looks like it so far. I don't know how tough their schedule is going to be going forward. Of course, they still have to play the Niners, which will be probably the game for the division title. But yeah, I mean, turns out they drafted very well last year. Turns out they're well coached. They're not making stupid mistakes anymore. They're playing very, very good defense. Their pass rush is great. Yeah. Kyler Murray's not making as many mistakes anymore. Cardinals are.
Maybe that's just Kyler Murray's career. One good season, one horrible season. Like, he's just going to flip-flop his entire
Actually,
career.
it's a 3-year cycle. One good season, one bad season, one season injured. And then he starts again. One good season, one bad season.
Makes sense, yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Could be. I mean, it's not a franchise quarterback when that happens. I think he has to put probably 2 to 3 really good seasons together in order to be considered something along those lines, because he didn't have a very good start to his career. But, yeah. I hope not. Everything was up to me, all 3 of the other NFC West teams would be in the basement constantly and just draft quarterback every year and get him beat up and then just discard him and get another one. That's what if I had anything to say about how the NFL script looks like, that's what it would be. But of course, that's not what it's like. Yeah, Cardinals are fine.
If you look at his entire career, he's never had 2 good seasons back to back. Ever, even in college, because he was sitting behind Patrick Mahomes and then he goes to sit behind Baker Mayfield, only starts for 1 season, which was phenomenal. He won the Heisman that year, comes in, plays horrible his rookie season for the Cardinals, and then has a decent season, then has a bad season, an injured season, then has a good season, and a bad season, and an injured season.
Up and down quarterback.
Yeah. At some point, you got to put together 2 back-to-back good seasons in your career.
He's up and down quarterback like Baker, right? But Baker is kind of turning things around now. He's turning out to be like an above average solid starter. But I don't think Kyler Murray. Yeah, I've said everything about Kyler Murray. I don't think so. He'll be fine.
Maybe that's just Lincoln Riley quarterbacks. Maybe that's just how they do.
Could be.
Caleb Williams should have a decent season next season. Then he'll have a couple horrible seasons, and then he'll be on a different team and have some decent seasons somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see what happens with Caleb Williams over the years. He's looking at a steeper downward trajectory than the other 2 so far.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess Baker's rookie season wasn't that bad. I mean, it wasn't phenomenal by any means. His second season was really good, though. And then he had all those bad seasons and flip-flop teams, and now he's back to being a decent quarterback.
Let's see. That's not normally how you stabilize a team long term, but we will see how it goes going forward. Okay, it should be a good week. We have a lot of disagreements. I think count exactly, but four. Okay, yeah, that's quite a bit, and it could have been more if I took a little bit more chances there. I hope this is not the week where everything turns around.
Now, I do have one question, because you cut out at the very beginning of the recording. No one will hear it on the podcast, but did you pick the Commanders or the Eagles?
I got the Eagles.
Oh, okay.
I have the Eagles.
So that is another disagreement. So we do have 5 disagreements.
Wow.
Yeah, we have the Commanders and Eagles. We have the Rams and Patriots. We have the Browns and Saints. We have the Falcons and Broncos. We have the Chiefs and Bills.
It's a lot of disagreements.
So, yeah. Somebody's going to gain at least 1 point. not more.
If not more. This could be a swing week. A lot of things could happen. Let's hope I'm getting this stabilized again this week. But I want to remind everyone again, MVP voting's still out. We'd like to hear many opinions as we possibly can get as many votes as we can get, and then let's see how it develops after this weekend. We have a lot of the front runners playing critical games. Should be quite a good development. You got Herbert versus Burrow. You got Mahomes isn't really in the race, but you got Allen versus Mahomes anyway. And, of course, you have the Steelers and the Ravens for division there, with Lamar Jackson being put to another test. Should be a good one. Let us know what you think about that. And drop us a like. Smokey, do you have anything to add for this week?
No, that's it for this week.
Cool. Leave us a like. Tell us what you think about these games. If you have any special predictions, any bold predictions, let us know what it is, and we will see you in the next one.
Doses.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.